Fans, and welcome back to another week of the Aggie Pridecast. I am your host, Brian Holloway, and with me I have a very special guest with us, the newly crowned head football coach of North Carolina A&T State University. He is Mr. Vincent Brown. Before we get to him, we don't have him long for tonight, so we're going to run through a recap of North Carolina A&T athletics before we bring him in a little bit. Let's start with a little men's basketball. They were an overtime winner over Hampton on Saturday. They will be the number 7th seed in the Colonial Athletic Association tournament coming up on. They will play on Saturday at 6 p.m. at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. They split with Stony Brook this season, and they will tip it off at 6 p.m. on Saturday as they go for a Colonial Athletic Association championship. Aggies haven't won a tournament championship since 2013. Women's basketball was a 72-44 winner on Sunday against UNC Wilmington. They are currently in a four-way tie for second place. They still have a chance to win a share of the Colonial Athletic Association regular season title. They must beat Drexel. Well, first they must beat Delaware on Thursday, and then they must beat Drexel on Saturday night in order to get at least a share of the regular season championship. Bowling was here this weekend at AMF All-Star Lanes. They finished fourth at the annual Star Lanes Invitational. They will go for a third straight MEAC tournament championship at the end of the month. Track and field just wrapped up their Colonial Athletic Association indoor championships. Their first, actually, it was the first of the conference's history, and A&T's first time competing in that race. The women finished fourth, the men finished third. The women did not win an indoor championship for the first time since 2016, so their run is finally over. Spring sports have been underway. Baseball started out 3-0. Three-game sweep of Maryland Eastern Shore, and then they lost to Davidson and lost 3 games to Appalachian State, even though they scored 23 runs in that 3-game series. Men's tennis and women's tennis is underway. It's been a long time since both teams were undefeated. The men won last night 7-0 over Shaw, and the women are 2-0 for the first time in recent memory. Softball got its second win of the season down at Georgia Southern over the weekend, and women's golf kicked back off for the second semester of their season. And so for everything on A&T Athletics, let's visit incataggies.com. Now let's bring in the man. He is the head football coach of North Carolina A&T. His name is Vincent Brown. And Coach, let me start out with the question that I get almost after every basketball game. Staff, how does it look? How's it coming together? And how close are we to having a full staff so I can have an answer that sounds intelligent?
Yeah, it is coming along. You know, it is a process to put together a really quality staff, and we've had some great candidates that have interviewed for the position. You know, when you look to hire great people, other people see them as being valuable also. So sometimes you run into some issues with other people coming along, trying to poach your staff, but we're moving along in the right direction. The bulk of the staff will be in place by the time we start practice on Wednesday. Though there may be 1 or 2 positions that haven't gone through the full process, but we're moving in the right direction and very excited about the guys that are coming.
What tell us a little bit about what you look for in a quality football coach, a quality assistant, in terms of what he brings to not only the staff, but to the student athlete. What are some of the things that you're looking for in a quality assistant?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you're looking for someone that has a shared vision for how you coach, how you teach, how you develop. And a lot of that shared vision, you're able to kind of understand through prior relationships, having worked with someone either directly or someone that knows the person that you may be interested in hiring. And they can say, well, yeah, you'll like this guy. He'll be a great fit for what you guys are trying to do. And so, there's a lot of that goes into it. It's not just about the resume, because so much of what we do is relationship oriented and building those long-term relationships, and you need to make sure you have people in and on your staff that are devoted to the vision and the mission of the university and the athletic program and the head coach. So great teachers, great mentors, great coaches that share the same vision about how you coach, teach, and develop are the primary drivers of what we're looking for.
Talking with our head football coach, Mr. Vincent Brown. We're going to get into a little spring football, a little spring game. But first, I just want to make sure, are you settled in Greensboro? Have you been around the city a little bit? You're comfortable at home, man. Just want to make sure that you're in good.
I am finding my way around campus and learning how to navigate campus. As far as Greensboro, I really go from right now my hotel to campus, and my wife and I we're still in the process of trying to find the right spot, but we're moving in the right direction there. The campus community has been phenomenal. I mean, kids on campus, staff members. I don't think I've ever been anywhere where the love of the institution is so profound when you meet people just out and about walking campus. So really, really excited.
Question: what is that like? You're trying to put together a football program, but then you've got that home life too, where we got to find the right house, the right fit, all of those kind of things. I mean, all of that kind of comes together. I mean, what is that like trying to juggle that?
Well, it really helps when you have a champion like my wife Chandra, because she handles almost all of it. Because whenever there's transition and change, you try to dive into the university community and develop the relationships and get to know the kids and the staff members, and a lot of that doesn't leave a lot of time for house hunting and all of those things. And so my wife has been tremendous over the years in adjusting to and adapting to the different areas. And probably more so than anything, it's understanding what my purpose here is. And from day one, I've tried to be clear with the kids and our current staff members what the expectations are, and just building on that.
No question about it. And I feel comfortable with the football program in your hands because you already know to compliment your wife early on, call her a champion. I mean, so you've got the smarts already to put together a pretty good football program. And it's always essential to put her up front without question. So no question about it. Shout out to Arlene Mitchell. She also compliments you for complimenting your wife. No question about that. Let's talk a little football here. Spring practice is starting up, I believe, Wednesday. First of all, how does the team look in terms of numbers and all those kind of things? I think whenever a coach comes in, there's always some transition there. And what is your focus as you step into this spring practice era right now?
Yeah, so if you've followed what we're doing from a strength and conditioning and some of the Blue Dawn workouts, it's really been about developing a competitive mindset and a competitive spirit with the players. And our video coordinator Sean Massey's done a great job of posting some of the workout and competitive stuff that we're doing, and so laying that base foundation of how we're going to play, and then really installing and instilling our base systems. It's not really about all the schemes. It's about the systems in place and eliminating the things that cause you to lose games and understanding how do you win games. And so that's been our message to the players essentially since we got here. In order to compete at a elite championship level, there are certain things that have to be in place, and eliminating the things that cause losing becomes paramount, and then building on the things that allow you to win. And so we're really excited. The kids are buying in. The first few practices, we're in helmets, so there's not a lot of banging on and things of that nature going on. So there'll be a lot of individual time, a lot of really detailed instructional time to teach them our systems and schematics.
Shout out to Earthel Hines listening to us. Lonnie Shaw, I'm not sure I understand your question. Maybe you want to rephrase that one a little bit. I'll be happy to ask it. And Chandra Brown, there we go. Listening to Coach here and all the compliments that she is getting. You know, the thing I noticed about you, you're a social media guy. Like you're out there, man. Like you're active. I like it. Who got you into the social media thing, and what's the importance of that to you?
Yeah, it started when we were at Howard University, and the former head coach that I worked for, Mike London at UVA, Richmond, Howard, William and Mary, is like he really understood the value of social media and how that can help build your brand. And I'm trying to make sure that I embrace that and bring that to our football program to help promote what we're doing and to build the A&T brand across the entire athletic and university community.
No question about it. No question about it. So here's a very important question. Have you had the Aggie wings yet?
Never had what?
The Aggie wings.
No, not yet. My wife would be like, stay away from the wing cafe, but I'll sneak through there. It's very, very important.
I should have asked first, were you on one of those white special diets? Because those will get you in trouble if you take to those Aggie wings or whatever. But just kind of curious of how much of the environment you have absorbed, especially with the Aggie wings. They are certainly delicious.
She'll tell you, like, I love a good wing, and I could probably eat it 4 or 5 days a week if it were healthy.
No question. So when you're cheating, when you're on your cheat day, I mean, what does Coach Brown like to eat? What does he like to throw down on? What's kind of his specialty?
Well, it depends on the time of year. During the season, after a game, a lot of times you're drained from the game. So I just want to go home, and on the way home, it's like, hey, can we stop and get some wings, or can we go to Popeyes?
Yeah. So have you? So I'm sure you've had Bojangles. Is there a competition there, or are you a Popeyes guy?
Well, before I moved to North Carolina, I was strictly a Popeyes guy. But now, since I've been here, it's like, okay, Bojangles, is really giving Popeyes a run for the money.
No question. No, and the Bo biscuit, man. Bo-berry biscuit. That's what yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's they put something special in that. I'm not sure what it is, but it's pretty good. So no question about it. Spring game will be April 1st. As you vision out into the future, how would you want that game to look going forward?
So everything that we're doing right now is building and laying the foundation for training camp and what we want the season to look like. And so, I mentioned a little while ago about, developing a competitive mindset and competitive spirit, both on and off the field. And so really, the spring game should be a reflection of all the teaching that we've done for the previous 14 practices. So building on those base fundamentals, making sure that we have our base systems in place, that we have an understanding of how you win and lose games in all three phases, offense, defense, and kicking game. And then probably most importantly is building and developing the brotherhood and bond that you really need to sustain a long drive into postseason and championship level play.
And understandable, but in terms of ambiance, in terms of atmosphere, would you like to see that as a game day atmosphere, 2-3 years down the line as you build out the program?
I do. We want April 1st to be like a game. We want people to come out to tailgate, to celebrate, what we're trying to do from a developing the program standpoint. And, we want all of our supporters, alumni, faculty, staff, and friends to come out and really support what we're trying to build and make it a fun and fulfilling spring game weekend.
We're here with head coach Vincent Brown. Want to send love out to Dane Browner listening to us. Steve Harrington. I want to say hello to him. Thank you for your comment. Anthony Lawson Jr. The chat is very active tonight with head coach Vincent Brown joining us here. Had a great recruiting class on signing day. Can we expect some additions after signing day to come in and kind of feel things out for you guys? How is the roster now shaping up for North Carolina A&T football?
Yeah, I think so. We got some really talented younger players signed in the early signing period and the January signing period, but we're also going to supplement our roster with some transfer portal players that will help us with some depth in certain areas, in particularly up front, defensively, defensive line, inside linebacker is a point of area of concern for us. Adding some quality depth along the offensive line also. So I think you'll see before we hit the training camp this summer that will add some veteran players to the team through the transfer portal.
Let's talk transfer portal a little bit, because I think Aggie fans are well aware that we lost our leading rusher from last year, lost our leading tackler from last year, and probably lost one of the better defensive players from the Big South last year within the transfer portal. Give me your thoughts on how that affects high school recruiting and how that has affected your sport specifically. I think every sport is different, but give me kind of an idea in your mind what that has meant for college football.
Yeah, I believe it really has impacted the high school recruits significantly. They're, and to their detriment, they're not getting offered like they were previously, but, it creates an added benefit for us because now there's some really talented players available that we may not have otherwise been able to recruit. So, there's a plus on both sides of it. We're happy with the kids that we were able to get. Some of them we think are FBS caliber players. And the other piece is that we understand that sometimes you're going to lose some kids to the portal. So, understanding that we know what our needs are. We're going to go out and fill those needs. And as we've spoken as a staff, that we're trying to create an environment here where retaining our players become the most important aspect of building the program. Because I think if you create the right environment, they don't want to leave. And, understanding, we're all about developing them, on and off the field, making sure that they become educated men so that they can impact society long after their playing days are over.
I think that's an excellent point. You often hear coaches talk about the portal, but you don't often hear them talk about retention. And I think that is something that we kind of miss. That how do you keep them from transferring? And I think that's a very important aspect of it as well. Great question from Ed Ligon. It's a 1 p.m. start for April 1st. Is that correct?
1 p.m. Correct.
April 1st, 1 p.m. Coach wants you out there, man. Bring the tailgate equipment, bring everything, give us that game atmosphere. Have you thought about format yet in terms of how will it be offense versus defense, or is there enough players for that?
Yeah, no, I think most likely it's going to be offense versus defense. We'll have a scoring format to reward the defense for stops and whatnot. Yeah, so really the atmosphere and watching our kids compete and seeing the things, situationally, it'll be very much situational football because that's where games are won and lost, third down, red zone, black zone, blue zone, all of those different field areas. And it'll be just a fun, competitive day of football.
In your introductory press conference, you used the word elite a lot. What does that mean to you? Why is that word important to you as you build out North Carolina A&T football?
Because, I think people operate with the mindset, oh, we've been good. We've had a very good football program. We've been good. And when you aspire to be champions, good is not good enough. And so there's no higher expectation than to be elite. When you say elite, we are amongst the very best in the country at what we do, academically, athletically, and football. And so as we transition into a new conference, we can't rest on how good we were in the previous conferences. We need to make sure that we're laying the foundation. We are building, we're providing the resources, we're developing our kids to be the absolute best in that conference and really to compete on a national level. And I've seen what elite looks like. And it's not easy to attain, but it is not insurmountable either. So we set the vision, we set the mindset, we set the goal, and we're going to strive to reach those.
I know you have to go, but I'm just curious. You've seen the CAA. What are your quick thoughts on what it takes to, achieve that? I mean, 5 teams went to the playoffs a year ago from that conference. So certainly from an RPI standpoint, it's pretty elite. What does it take as you think about A&T football 2-4 years down the line? What is it going to take to be into that conversation with the elite?
Yeah, so everything starts with the support systems that are in place. How do you recruit the very best players for your university and your environment? How do you develop those players for your university and your environment? How do you teach them to compete at that level? How do you provide the resources from an academic standpoint to make sure that they're succeeding off the field also? And so I've seen what that looks like firsthand. And I think there's a commitment from the university to make those things happen. And from what we've seen so far, it's been phenomenal. The support systems in place. And once you develop those support systems, then the results tend to take care of themselves because the culture is created on a level of expectation of how you do things.
Excellent. Steve Torrance wants to thank you for putting emphasis on the students, not just the athletes, but the student and student athletes. So shout out to Stephen. Aggie fans need to know this because they love to come to practice. What are the rules on spring practice? Who can attend? Are there any practices that are going to be open to fans? How do they govern themselves accordingly?
Yes. And so, part of this process in developing our program is to try to make sure we keep things in-house. We talk about family. We don't share what we're doing outside. Our practices are closed to the general public, but they're open to our alums, our stakeholders, our students that are interested in coming. We just need to know and have a system of communicating who's out watching what we do. And so for people outside of the media, we just say, contact our DFO and we'll arrange credentials for you to come visit practice.
Outstanding. Thank you, Coach, man. I appreciate the time. March 1st, we're getting underway. Football is in the air. August 31st, first game of the season, go down to UAB. Have you learned to hate Central yet? Is that's a requirement?
Yeah, I'm working on that, and amongst other things.
No question.
So, yep.
No question. Love our guys at Central, man. Those are our brothers. We just don't like each other on game days, but it's
right.
all good. Love those guys. So getting underway August 31st. First home game September 9th against the NCCU Eagles. Looking forward to 2023 and all the things that the Coach Brown era will bring. And Coach, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later, man.
My pleasure.